The morning of May 23, 1934, broke with the same Louisiana humidity as any other spring day. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of pine and damp earth. On a lonely stretch of Louisiana State Highway 154, two of America's most notorious Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow were driving toward their destiny, completely unaware of what lay just a few miles ahead. They had spent the night before at the home of Ivan Ivy Methin's parents. Ivy was a recent addition to the Barrow gang. A young convict, Clyde had broken out of a Texas prison farm. His father, in a desperate bid to secure a pardon for his son, had made a deal with the law. He would betray Bunny and Clyde. The trap was set inside the stolen Ford V8. The mood was likely relaxed. Clyde Dever, the confident driver, had his foot on the pedal, cruising at a brisk pace. He was a master behind the wheel, having escaped countless police traps with his daring maneuvers. But this time his skill wouldn't be enough. He was driving a ton sedan, a death car, though he didn't know it yet. Beside him, Bonnie was probably doing what she often did on long drives, eating a sandwich. Or maybe even writing. She was a poet, a dreamer trapped in a life of crime. She'd penned verses about the inevitable violent. A poem titled The Story of Bonnie and Clyde. It was a prophecy she carried with her, a romanticized vision of their final moments. Perhaps she hummed a little tune, the melody, a stark contrast to the violence that defined their lives. She had her favorite red dress on, and a movie magazine might have been open on her lap. Just up the road, hidden in the dense foliage of the piney woods, a six-man posse lay in wait. They had been there since the night before, their patience worn thin by mosquito bites and the tense anticipation. The lawmen were a mix of Texas Rangers and Louisiana officers, led by the legendary Frank Hammer, a tough, relentless lawman coaxed out of retirement specifically to hunt down the Barrow gang. Hammer was determined this would be their final stand. He had studied their movements, their habits, and he knew they were creatures of routine. The posse had set up their ambush on the gentle slope of the highway, a perfect spot. They knew Clyde wouldn't slow down for much, but they had an ace up their sleeve. Ivy Methin's father, the betrayer, had parked his truck on the side of the road, removing one of the tires to make it look like he had a flat. The hope was that Clyde, seeing a friend's father in trouble, would slow down or even stop to offer help. It was a simple yet brilliant piece of bite. The minutes ticked by. The sun climbed higher, casting long shadows across the road. The lawmen checked their weapons, a small arsenal of automatic rifles, shotguns, and pistols. They had Boss Browning automatic rifles, fearsome weapons designed for trench warfare, now aimed at a single car. There would be no warnings, no calls to surrender. Hammer had made that clear. After years of shootouts, dead officers, and daring escapes, the authorities wanted a definitive end. They weren't there to make arrests. They were there to deliver justice, swift and final. Back in the Ford, the world was still normal. Maybe Bonnie and Clyde talked about their plans. They were heading to Gibsland to pick up Ivy. They often used the town as a meeting point. They might have been dreaming of a future, one where they could finally settle down, away from the constant running. They had family they missed, and the life of an outlaw, while thrilling in headlines, was a grueling, lonely existence. They were perpetually on the move, sleeping in their car, always looking over their shoulder. As they rounded a bend, Clyde saw the truck. He recognized it. It was Old Man Methvin's. True to Hammer's prediction, Clyde's instinct to help a friend's family kicked in. He eased his foot off the gas, the powerful V8 engine slowing its purr. He was a criminal, a killer, but he still operated by a certain code. This was the moment the posse had been waiting for. The world seemed to hold its breath. The birds in the trees went silent. The air, already thick, grew still with tension. Clyde probably raised a hand in greeting, a casual gesture. Bonnie might have leaned forward, squinting to see what the trouble was. In that split second, the difference between life and death. They were just two people in a car, slowing down to help someone. Then, the calm shattered. Frank Hammer stepped out from the brush. He didn't shout, he didn't hesitate. He simply raised his rifle. The first shot was the signal. Instantly, the quiet roadside erupted into a deafening roar of gunfire. The other 5 officers opened up, their weapons unleashing a hailstorm of lead. Clyde was killed instantly. The first volley of shots hitting him in the head. He died with his foot still on the brake, the car lurching forward and rolling slowly into the ditch. Bonnie didn't have time to react. She let out a scream, a sound that was immediately cut short as the bullets found her too. The fusillade was relentless, a brutal, overwhelming storm of violence that lasted for what felt like an eternity, but was probably only about 16 seconds. When the shooting finally stopped, an eerie silence descended once more upon the highway. The air was now thick with the smell of gunpowder. Smoke wafted from the barrels of the posse's rifles and from the mangled wreck of the Ford. Cautiously, the Leman approached the vehicle. The scene was gruesome. The car was riddled with so many holes it looked like a sieve. Inside, the story of Bonnie and Clyde had reached its bloody conclusion. Their criminal careers, which had captivated and terrified a nation during the Great Depression, were over. They were no longer mythical figures, but 2 young people. Bonnie just 23 and Clyde 25, whose lives of crime had led them exactly where they always knew they would end up. On a dusty road in Rouleau, Louisiana, their dreams of escape extinguished in a blaze of gunfire. The posse had succeeded. The reign of the Barrow Gang was finished, but in their violent deaths, the legend of Bonnie and Clyde was truly born, cemented forever in American folklore. Thanks for watching. If you found this dive into history interesting, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories from the past. See you next time.